Mimo was a troubled kid who suffered abuse in his own home at the hands of his mother's new boyfriend after his father's death. The poor boy endured daily beatings and received barely any food, cowering in a corner as his horrible mother ignored his cries of pain, absorbed in watching television. As he grew older, Mimo became a lonely, weak child with no confidence. He wakes up from a nightmare of being beaten by his stepfather to the sound of Shu, the class bully, tormenting a kind girl named Aya. Shu snatches her book, mocking her for reading girly novels, unable to grasp that a girl would naturally read such books. Mimo imagines how, in a TV show, he would stand up to the bully and earn everyone's admiration. However, he knows that in reality, no one on the bus cares, and if he stands up for Aya, his weak frame will only get him beaten up. Most popular students support Shu, while the others laugh along to avoid becoming targets themselves. The teacher is useless, asleep, as Shu relentlessly demands Aya's phone number. Before he realizes it, Mimo stands up, looking Shu in the eye, and tells him to leave Aya alone. Shu laughs, calling him a simp and weak, when suddenly Kiri, the most popular guy in class, intervenes and tells Shu to give the book back. Shu obeys, returning the book to Aya before moving on to bully another nerd, Yasu. Mimo questions why he stood up for Aya, an unusual act for him, but before he can dwell on it, everyone on the bus is transported to a different world. They find themselves in a completely unknown place, staring at a beautiful deity standing atop a bridge. She introduces herself as the goddess Visi. Visi explains that whenever the threat of a demon king arises, the kingdom of Alien summons brave warriors from another world to defend their realm. 200 years ago, the demon king nearly destroyed their kingdom. But thanks to some heroes, the Demon King was defeated, and the demon army was annihilated. Unfortunately, the Demon King has resurrected, which is why they have all been teleported to this world, to fight as the new heroes who will put an end to the Demon King. The students are utterly confused, wondering if they are dead or if this is some kind of prank. Their teacher instructs them to stay quiet, and listen to what the goddess has to say. Mimo looks at the ancient architecture, the soldiers wearing armor and holding spears, and the goddess with her golden eyes. He pinches himself to check if he is dreaming. Kiri speaks up and asks the goddess what will happen if they don't cooperate. Visi smiles and claims that she won't be able to send them back to their world. Kiri asks if there really is a way to return, and Visi replies that there is a reverse summoning ritual which can send them back. However, to perform it, they must kill the Demon King to obtain a special part called the evil element, which only drops upon his death. Shu screams at her for bringing them to a new world without giving them a choice and refuses to help. Visi goes down on one knee, begging them to save her kingdom from destruction. Aya speaks up, expressing that they are just humans who can't do anything. Visi promises that they have abilities they never knew about. Shu still thinks this is a joke, so Visi decides to prove it. She calls forth a prisoner of war and a giant demon dog. She releases the demon dog, which immediately lunges at the prisoner and kills him. Some of the girls are horrified and fall to their knees. Visi looks at the demon, chants a spell, and blasts the monster into flames, erasing it from existence. She then calls the students forward to measure their latent ability. One by one, the students walk up to a crystal ball, which glows in different colors. After the nerds are done, Shu steps up to the crystal. As soon as he places his hand over it, the crystal glows a bright red color. The goddess looks pleased and announces that Shu has a rank skills. Finally, Kiri steps forward. As soon as he places his hand over the crystal ball, it glows a bright golden color before exploding. After that, Aya approaches, and she too is revealed to be S rank. Following her, another girl steps up and also turns out to be S rank. The guards are completely shocked, and Visi explains that having even one S rank individual is extremely lucky, but to have 3 is unreal. Finally, Mimo walks up to the crystal. When he puts his hand over it, the ball glows a dim purple. The goddess doesn't give him a second glance and tells the next person to come up. Mimo tries to ask what rank he is, but she completely ignores him. He walks away, realizing that even in this world, he is destined to be a background character. After that, Yasu, the nerd, steps up to the crystal. He turns out to have a special dark ability, which another dark hero possessed a while ago, and became the strongest. Finally, everyone checks their stats, and the goddess tells them that they also have a personal ability that varies from person to person. She then announces that they have to perform a critical ritual. She calls Mimo to the front, and a guard immediately pushes him forward. She sends him below into a dark pit, claiming that Mimo is E-ranked, the lowest in the entire class. Historically, E-ranked individuals have caused a lot of trouble, so they are usually killed. However, since this time they got so many amazing heroes, she will give the E-ranker a chance to save his life. He will be sent to the abandoned ruins, a dungeon far away where criminals and monsters are sent. She tells him that if he manages to survive, they will leave him alone and he will earn the right to live. Otherwise, he can kiss his life goodbye. Mimo tries to argue, claiming that he can get better, but the goddess replies that he falls into the category of failure frame. This means his stats are so low that even with intense training, he cannot improve. Furious, Mimo tells the goddess that he never chose to come here. He was summoned against his will and now is being disposed of. Kiri cuts him off, saying that he is wasting everyone's time as the girls are already tired. Everyone agrees with Kiri, and Mimo falls to the ground, defeated. When Yasu walks up to him, Mimo remembers the time he helped Yasu after he got bullied. However, Yasu rejects him, telling him that an E-ranker should talk with more respect to their superiors. Mimo loses all hope as the goddess commences the ritual, throwing a leather bag as his special item, which turns out to be completely useless. Aya tries to defend Mimo, saying that this is wrong. Frustrated beyond belief, Mimo raises his arm and uses the paralyze spell on the goddess. She easily blocks it, calling Mimo a loser for even trying to hit her with his E-ranked skills. Kiri also tries a spell, creating a huge fireball, claiming he was just testing it with a small amount of mana. Everyone laughs at the power difference between a loser like Mimo and themselves. Mimo lowers his head as tears fall down his cheeks, remembering how his younger self used to cry. Suddenly, a voice within him tells him to stop pretending to be good and show them his true nature, the side he has been repressing for so long. Finally letting go, Mimo looks up with hate-filled eyes and tells the goddess that she is a rotten hag, warning her to be ready for him if he ever returns alive. He is immediately transported into a dark cave. Trying to open his status, he fails due to the low light. He pours some mana into the leather bag, making the gem inside glow. Using it as a lantern, he moves through the cave, suddenly realizing he is walking on skeletons. Fear grips him as he wonders what could have killed all these people. A monster attacks him, and he barely dodges, running away with all his might. He thinks about turning around to fight but knows the level difference is too great. He would die the moment he stops. Crying out of fear, he trips over a rock and falls. Facing imminent death, frustration over his life takes command of his body. Just as the monster is about to kill him, Mimo makes a last-ditch effort and shoots the paralyze spell, surprisingly petrifying the monster in place. He immediately gets up and runs away, soon reaching the end of the cave where another bird demon approaches with murderous intent. Mimo raises his arm again and uses the paralyze spell, freezing the enemy once more. Realizing his spell works, he starts feeling tired and opens his stats, noticing his mana is almost depleted. He tries casting a poison spell on the monster, which works effectively, causing the demon to turn black and bleed. Sitting on the cave floor, Mimo wonders why his spells are so effective against these demons when he hears something behind him. Turning around, he sees the Minotaur demon has broken free from the spell and is ready to strike. Instead of running away, all the hatred for everyone who treated him badly resurfaces. Even though he is completely exhausted, he raises his arms towards the demon, determined to kill to live his life, and challenges the demon to fight him, uncertain if he will survive this time or not. This brings an end to our episode 1. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to not miss the next part.